Bring you more on that in our later bulletins. Millions of South Africans' personal information, including identity numbers, property ownership, income and employment history, was accessed in a data breach in October. This month, Hetzner South Africa was hacked, exposing the banking information of customers, among other things. For more on this, I'm joined by Zayin Krige, who's the founder of Apex Technology. He joins us live from our Cape Town studio. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News, Zayin. What are the implications of a data leak like this?
Hi, Nzinga. Thanks for having me. So, part of the implications of this is that Hetzner hosts a lot of databases and websites, and the credentials for these databases and websites have potentially been leaked. The Dracor jigsaw hack that we saw earlier in October was one database that had 60 million users in it. There have been potentially multiple of these databases now which have been leaked via this information breach at Hetzner. So the ramifications could be very big.
Over 60 million South Africans in the first one, both dead and alive, had their information accessed. Who would buy this kind of information, and what can be done with this information?
So anybody with nefarious intents, for example, people who wanted to steal identities, would have access to a vast wealth of information: ID numbers, dates of birth, cell phone numbers, postal addresses, physical addresses. And I'm sure you could imagine that with such information on a single individual, you could essentially take over their online persona and present yourself as however you wanted to. So there's potentially a lot of danger involved there.
Hetzner says that, and I'm quoting, their proprietary hosting management tool, Console H, was compromised via an SQL injection attack, which then led to the access of and subsequent leak of over 40,000 ISP customers' details. What does that mean in plain English if I'm not an IT person?
So, on a website where you see a login form for a username or password, sometimes when these things aren't properly secured, you are able to pass secondary instructions which are passed along to the database on the back end, and the database on the back end would then incorrectly dump out information that should not be accessible by a normal login or a username field. And somebody figured out that Hetzner's Console H had this vulnerability, took advantage of it, and managed to gain access to all the usernames and passwords that were stored in the Hetzner system.
What was also accessed in the Hetzner hack was banking details of clients, not the actual credit card details. Is that going to make a difference, or then are people's bank accounts compromised going forward?
So if I have somebody's bank account number along with their ID number, their physical address, their postal address, their telephone number, I'm sure if I had evil intentions, I could probably do a lot with it. As always, one should try to remain vigilant with banking. You know, don't click on unsolicited links from your bank in emails and things like that. And some of the good general practices are to enable services like two-factor authentication, which, along with your username and password, prompts you for a unique code when you log into your online service provider.
Mm-hmm. Now, because of these two data breaches, a cybercrime expert says this could open up South Africans to cybercrime like you've just spoken about. What can people do to protect themselves, and do online companies such as Hetzner need to now take a look at overhauling their systems that they use to keep our data safe?
So, with regards to the second part of your question, Hetzner have indicated that they are overhauling the system where the vulnerability was. They have said they will no longer be storing passwords in plain text. So in future, if anybody did gain access to the Hetzner systems, they would not have access to the passwords. With regards to people taking steps to be vigilant, as we mentioned just now, things like two-factor authentication, which most banks provide nowadays, go a long way to securing your account. As usual, don't click on suspicious links in emails. Be wary of what we call phishing emails, which pretend they're emails from your bank asking you to click on links and log in, and all these sort of things.
Zayin, there's a website where you can enter in your email address and you can see if your data has been leaked or compromised online. I tried that when I was preparing for our interview, and I saw that my information has been leaked. Is there something to panic about if someone just has your email address and perhaps your password, or is it just I don't know, a side thing that you shouldn't worry about so much of your bank account details aren't there? It's just perhaps your Gmail account that's been compromised.
So, with the release that had 60 million South Africans' information in it, if you type your email in and it confirms that your info is in there, then you can be assured that your email address, your name, your ID number, your date of birth, your cell phone number, your address, unfortunately all that information has been leaked. This is one of the, or that leak was one of the biggest leaks that South Africa's ever seen, so it is very worrying. I've heard through the grapevine that some very high profile politicians and public people's information is in that leak as well. So it's not just the man on the street like you or me, it's pretty much everyone in South Africa that's been compromised by that leak.
Zayin Krige coming to us live from Cape Town. Thanks so much for your time. It's time for a short break. When we come back, more business news. Do stay with us.